cholesterol isn't all bad. Eggs aren't bad. Hey you guys, it is Kieran Campbell, owner and dietitian from Kieran Campbell Nutrition. It's been a while since I did one of these heart health on the road videos, so I'm back. I've been pretty busy at work and school and all things like that, but it's good to be back. Today I want to talk a little bit about cholesterol. For those of you who don't know, I work at a hospital as a clinical dietitian, and a couple times a week I drive over to another campus to teach a cardiac rehab class. And on those days, I'm actually, I don't know, it kind of pumps me up. And I had a decent group today, and they asked a lot of good questions, and I kind of want to continue the conversation. But I was talking to them about cholesterol, and a lot of them had questions about, eggs and, how cholesterol from foods have been sort of demonized, especially like eggs have been demonized over the years as being really, really bad for blood cholesterol levels, and it turns out it's not really the case. So I wanted to kind of talk about that and what the research shows. I apologize for the audio. I do not have my mic with me. I don't always carry it with me, but hopefully you can hear me okay. So when it comes to cholesterol, all animal products have cholesterol, okay? So it doesn't matter if it's low fat, it still has cholesterol. Like the example that I used today was milk. Like even if you drink skim milk versus whole milk, skim milk is still gonna have cholesterol. The rule is if it had a liver, it has cholesterol. So where's milk come from? Milk comes from a cow. Does a cow have a liver? It sure does. So guess what? Milk is going to have, a little bit of cholesterol, no matter if it's skim, 1%, 2%, or whole. So same thing with butter. Where does butter come from? Butter comes from milk. So guess what? Milk comes from a cow. Cow has a liver. So butter has cholesterol. All animal products are going to have some amount of cholesterol, whereas plant products, completely plant-based foods, are not going to have any cholesterol. But plants actually do have a type of cholesterol, but it acts completely different, and it's not like cholesterol that you get from animal products. Certain plant foods are high in plant sterols and stanols. So these, in your body, once you consume them, your body doesn't know the difference between plant cholesterols and animal cholesterols. So what happens is plant sterols actually block the absorption of animal cholesterols so that they do not recirculate back into your bloodstream. They actually get eliminated. So foods that are high in plant sterols and stanols are things that have been, enriched. Like you can find certain margarines, like I don't know if anyone has heard of Benecol. You can even buy them in pill form, plant sterols and stanols, in chews you can buy. But foods, natural foods that contain them are things like certain plant oils. Corn oil is particularly high in plant sterols. Also sunflower oil, sunflower seeds, safflower oil, and they're even present in certain fruits and vegetables naturally. So as long as you're getting enough plant foods, you're getting a little bit of those plant sterols and stanols, and they're wonderful at lowering your cholesterol. First, cholesterol. I hope everyone here, if you've gotten your blood lipid levels drawn, you should always know what you're aiming for as far as your targets. Like when you get a blood lipid panel drawn, so know what your cholesterol is supposed to be at. What's your goal there? What's your goal for HDL? What's your goal for LDL? And some of these are different depending on if you're male or female. For example, for total cholesterol, everyone needs to aim for a total cholesterol of under 200 milligrams per deciliter. So if it's above 200s, which I will tell you, mine is above 200. I'm working on it. high blood pressure, high cholesterol, both run in my family. So I'm trying to beat those genetics through diet and exercise, which I'm kind of slacking on the exercise, I will admit to you. But anyways, total cholesterol, everyone needs to aim for under 200. This is what I tell my cardiac rehab patients. For HDL, it's different for men than women. Men need to get an HDL level goal of above 40. Women, they need to aim for above 50. Then for the LDL, which by the way, this is how I remember it. H is for happy and L is for lousy. So H is that number you want to be higher, but not too high, because once it gets too high, like a 90 or above, it's no longer cardioprotective at that point. But yeah, above 40 for males, above 50 for females. When it comes to lousy cholesterol, everyone wants to get that under 100. So aim for an LDL under 100. There is a lot of research on if you can get your LDL even below, gosh, what is it? Is it below 80 or below 70? If you can get it that low, it actually starts reversing the effects of reversing plaque buildup in your arteries, which is amazing. You might need to be on a statin, especially if you are a heart patient or have had a cardiovascular event or have hyperlipidemia, if it's genetic. So talk to your doctor about that. Talk to your doctor about statins, plant sterols, plant stanols, all that stuff. See what they recommend. Your team, you got to work with your team here and see what is best for you. This is not cookie cutter stuff here. And there's triglycerides. Everyone's triglyceride level should be 150, under 150. So if you follow a very high carbohydrate diet, high carbohydrate diets are correlated with high triglyceride levels. So do your best to follow a nice balanced diet. A lot of times people will rely on food tracking apps, just to start with, and eventually, sometimes people do it long term because it feels like those are a good tool. Food tracking and meal tracking apps like MyFitnessPal or MyNet Diary, which I am a consulting dietitian for MyNet Diary, disclaimer right there, but they are wonderful tools for tracking habits, your eating habits, the types of food you're eating. You can identify food intolerances. There's all different kinds of other features that can tell you a lot about your eating habits. And you can track your macros, of course, so make sure you're eating a good balance of carbs to fats to proteins. So along with tracking your weight, of course, and your exercise, your physical activity level, amount and levels. So whatever tool you need to do, even pen and paper, do what works for you. But yeah, as far as cholesterol, that's pretty much all I wanted to say today. Not a whole lot of people know that cholesterol isn't all bad. Eggs aren't bad. You can actually, studies show that cholesterol from eggs and dairy products don't have as much of a negative effect or impact on your blood cholesterol levels as other types of cholesterol do, like the type you would get from processed or ultra processed foods like lunch meats and hot dogs and things like that. Those have more of a negative impact on blood cholesterol levels than natural cholesterol in eggs and dairy, just so you know. So no need to fear cholesterol. We need cholesterol. Our bodies need cholesterol. Our body actually uses cholesterol because cholesterol is a precursor to vitamin D production, which is fall now and winter's coming, and we are all, a lot of people are usually low in vitamin D in the wintertime. It only becomes a problem when we overdo it with the types of cholesterol. Usually, and when it comes to eggs, it's not necessarily the cholesterol anyways that's the problem, it's the saturated fat. That the saturated fat has a bigger impact on blood cholesterol levels than actual cholesterol in most foods. So take that with a grain of salt. Don't fear cholesterol in your diet, but still just watch out for the types. Like, where is the cholesterol coming from? What types of foods are those? and go from there. So eat more whole foods, always eat more whole foods than processed foods, okay? But that's all I wanted to say today. I hope you guys are feeling well, having a wonderful week, and I will see you next time on another Heart Health on the Road.